for their gracious presence. Lastly, I welcome all UG and PG scholars for their valuable presence. Now I request Dr. Mahadevi H. Mali ma'am to introduce today's guest speaker. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Saubhagya. It's my pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, Dr. Shibu Isaac, MD Ayurveda, presently working as Ayurveda Yoga Lifestyle Consultant in Germany, France. Sir has done their undergraduate and postgraduate in Swasthayurveda and Yoga from SVM Ayurvedic Medical College at Hassan. Sir has served as a medical officer in Ayusham. Sir has conducted the lifestyle disorders prevention clinic project government Ayurveda hospital in Kerala, and he had been engaged to coordinate the project for Idukki district, Kerala, India. Sir is passionate to serve the health seekers, promote the health and well-being holistically. And Sir is associated with Ayurveda yoga projects in India, Germany, and France. And Sir had been the recipient of Agnivesha 2015 award from SDM Ayurvedic Medical College, Hassan, for his services. Today, Sir is here to speak on the topic Ayurveda and Yoga in the prevention of lifestyle disorders. It's our honor to have you, Sir, for today's session. Thank you, Sir, and start the session. Over to you, Sir.
Thank you, Madam. It's a real privilege and a good opportunity for me in this platform, and I thank the principal, the HOD, and the organizers for inviting me. The topic was assigned is Ayurveda and Yoga in the prevention of lifestyle disorders. So what are lifestyle disorders? Am I audible, if I may ask?
Yes, you are audible. You are audible.
Good. So what are these lifestyle disorders? When we talk about lifestyle, and what is this lifestyle disorders? What are the factors influencing these lifestyle disorders? I believe there are UG students and PG students.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would like to have a small interaction as well. It will be so energetic if we could have a slight interaction as well. So I would also request a few of the students to unmute, and maybe you could also respond and we could have an interaction as well. So when we are talking about lifestyle disorders, most of the conditions what we commonly see is the heart disorders, the cancer, diabetes, obesity, arteriosclerosis, hypertension. So the most leading disorder what we see considering to the mortality is the ischemic heart disorders. So even now, what I am doing over here in Germany and in France, we are exclusively working in this dimension of lifestyle, and associated with few projects involving also other doctors as well. And the significance what Ayurveda and yoga could deliver in terms of supporting lifestyle management is immense. And this was something which had really motivated me right from the beginning of my intention to join BAMS. To give a small introduction, I was born and brought up in Dubai, and then later moved to Germany. I never had this idea about, we never, when we are out of India, we never know something called Ayurveda or yoga, especially as a medical system. Okay, so when I was in Dubai, we were exposed to certain food, we were exposed to certain factors, and right from an early time period itself, I had developed certain allergic responses, and not certain, it was a very huge allergic responses, which had even crippled my life, I could say. So that's when I tried a lot of systems, a lot of medications. And at that point of time, we come to know of only one system, which is, the white pill or the injection. We have only that exposure. Antibiotics or non-steroidal drugs or anti-inflammatory drugs and antihistamine drugs. So this is what we only know about. So that's when I tried a lot of medications, and definitely those medications in its acute stages, which was very difficult for me, had brought down the symptoms, had brought down the difficulties, no doubt. But when it comes to the chronic level or the chronic management, always under such sort of medications was a big challenge. It reduces our the energy and enthusiasm to some extent, or to a greater extent, I could say, especially when we are young. And maybe, when we are into some antihistamine drugs, when it comes to be sedative, we often be in a state of, in a very mild form. So that's when I came for vacations, and I got into this hospital, and they told me that there is a process where we can throw out these toxins which is causing disturbance in you. So this cause of, this method is quite different. It's a process of 3 stages. The first stage is preparing your body. The second stage is throwing out the body, the accumulated toxins. And the third will be the specific diet and the medications which will be supporting you. And the most important part is it is completely herbal. So in a herbal based system where it helps our system to revive, to throw out the toxins, and really revitalize ourselves. And when I heard that this is with herbs, medicated ghee and medicated system, I was really overwhelmed, because that was out of the question, because we never came across such a thinking or such an exposure, especially when we are abroad. So I was really excited to undergo this. They gave me a very good consultation, preparing now I know there should be dosha klesha, and but at my situation, a lot of changes had taken place. A lot of changes have taken place, and I had undergone this therapy of Vamana. So throwing out, they explained how that when we throw out, what would be the stages, where first it comes a very solid substance, then comes more of pitta. So it comes in that form. So very clearly, what they told me was exhibited. And after that, I was completely feeling anew, feeling completely anew, in the sense I feel so light, I feel so energetic. And then when the particular medications was introduced, the response what I had drastically improved or changed. That's where my life, my journey in Ayurveda began. Where I was so motivated in understanding that these factors had reduced a lot of my symptoms, a lot of things in my body, in my life. So dear friends, when we talk about allergic responses, what is really happening over there? It's some sort of hypersensitive reaction, namely some inflammatory responses. Okay, so what triggers those inflammatory responses? That's where we would like to know, we would like to go in deep, especially in understanding the concept of lifestyle disorders. So in this spectrum of conditions prevailing in lifestyle conditions, the foundation, the root is focused towards two main entities: chronic stress and chronic inflammation. So these two factors are the triggering core factors which causes or induces these conditions. And I believe most of the conditions, the fundamental is stress and inflammation. And how it will be triggered? Through certain exposures. What exposures? Through our lifestyle. That is the fundamental. So how to understand it, how to go in depth? This was what myself, my teachers, we worked together right from BAMS, especially in my post-graduation of Department of Sustavrita and Yoga. Teachers like my all my mentors, Dr. Kavita, Dr. Shivakumar sir, Dr. involved in cancer projects in the government of Karnataka and was the former head of KidVai in the preventive department, former head of KidVai Institute. So we had taken up this task of focusing on cancer. And right from the first year itself, my teachers and we all started working. We didn't wait for the second year to come for the post-graduation. We started together right from the first year because it was a major task to complete in 3 years' time, because we were focusing on identifying lifestyle factors, individual factors, and we brought up a design on how to approach it in a very systematic manner. So this is a very basic introduction as well, which I would like to share. With this, I started continuing ahead and also was part of the government of Kerala's project on lifestyle prevention. And now following it up, having the same approach, we are working in Europe and in the West, because it has a lot of influence, especially on how stress and inflammatory responses are. So we'll come on how it, modern lifestyle, the challenges what we see are toxins, the diet and lifestyle, stress, pollution, disturbed family relations, violence and cruelty. So what is the root cause? As we discussed, the root cause is chronic stress and inflammation, which triggers a lot of biochemical reactions in the body. So when we are exposed to certain challenges, the root cause, what happens is, from the fundamental is in the purview of chronic stress and chronic inflammatory responses in the body. So again, what is health? We all hear this definition of health. It's a state of complete physical, mental, social well-being, and not mere absence of disease or infirmity. WHO has stated it as an idealistic definition and not a realistic one. This is what is a bit different, because when we talk of in terms of Ayurveda, we don't look in the purview of some mere food or some exercise, but we have a very structured approach pertaining in the purview of in the physical health, in the mental health, in the social health, in the spiritual health, a holistic approach. So in Ayurveda and yoga, when it comes, the approach to the definition what WHO says on the physical, mental, social, spiritual well-being is not just an idealistic one, but for us, it is a realistic one. So we all are very familiar, especially when we are studying Ayurveda, with this sloka, samadosha, samagnischa, samadhatu, malakriyaha, prasannatma indriyamanaha, sasteti bhidyade. It's a very, very powerful definition. When I speak about this to my clients here in Europe, they just fall in love with it because the meaning it conveys very uniquely. It has an individual and personalized approach, identifying each and individual's a state of energy, a state of metabolic activity, which is very unique to individual people. And when we identify a person to be in a particular prakriti or a particular vikriti group, a prakriti which is very unique, vikriti which changes based on the ahara vihara, based on what all active, those changes influences and how the prakriti comes to become vikriti based on the practices or the influence or the exposures we have. This is a very different concept, a very different understanding what it comes to, especially people in Europe or in the West. So when we talk, when we do a particular consultation, we analyze the prakriti, and then we analyze what the vikriti. Based on the vikriti, we start identifying which doshas are present. It clearly makes a lot of sense for them. And that is a strength what we have. So I'm trying to bring up, when we are studying, perhaps we may not give so importance. That's why I'm giving you a lot of, sharing you with this, what we see here, what we practice, and how the people have the faith and how in depth they go. So yeah, sama dosha, sama agnischa. So the doshas, the second most important is the Agni, the metabolic fire. Then comes Samadhatu, Samala Kriyaha. So the most important part would be the doshas and the Agni. When both are in a very stable manner, Samadhatu Mala Kriya are automatic processes, because we know the doshas, when they are balanced and the Agni is maintained, the rasadi dhatus are formed, and rasadi dhatus cause the balance of the sama dhatus, and the mala formation comes accordingly. Then prasanna atma indriya manaha sasthetya bhidyate. The prasannata of the atma, indriya, and the manaha. Only then we talk in terms of health. That is the uniqueness what we have through Ayurveda, through yoga. So again, this is the description. The person who has balanced doshas, balanced Agni, the proper functioning of the dhatus, elimination of the malas, body processes, mind, soul, senses, they are termed as healthy individual in Ayurveda. That's the context what it comes. So the purview of Ayurveda is a holistic one. It sees the physical level, it sees the the mental level, the social level, the spiritual level, also the emotional level and the spiritual level. So the goal would be in identifying how our physical health is, how our mental health is, how our social health is, how our spiritual health is. So most of the time we have this concept, we have a set and a person comes to us, we talks about certain symptoms. We think, okay, this is particular, we have seen certain conditions of this, we can write these medications and go. Actually, when it comes into Ayurvedic and yogic management, that is the beauty what we have, where we go as an individual and personalized approach. We go and identify what our parameters talks, what our protocol talks in identifying the Dashavida Parikshas, identifying the Agni level and understanding the Ama Avastha or the Ama concept. Yes, the most important part of disease formation, Ama. So if the particular entity, what is there in our body, is not transformed, when it is not transformed, it produces Ama. So the context is mentions on Ama can occur in two ways. One, when the Agni is influenced, when there is a disturbance in the Agni. Second, in when there is Anyunya Dosha Avastha, also produces Ama Avastha. So Ama is an entity which is not completely transformed and absorbed in the body. So anything which is sticking into our body, causing disturbance, is it starts showing certain signs and symptoms, and those signs and symptoms we study in understanding the signs and symptoms of Ama Avastha as well. There are lots of studies which shows Ama to be related with inflammatory responses or inflammatory biomarkers. So if we look, I was also reading certain articles which are published by DRDO, which are published by IIT. I've shared it with my department as well, on how they have tried to evaluate the concept of Ama, the approach of Ama at the level from the free radicals up to other formation, be it reactive proteins or uric acid, or in terms of uncontrolled diabetes, where the blood sugar level goes up, cholesterol level or dyslipidemia conditions, or all these conditions when a particular element which is not transformed and utilized in the body, but instead be merged, be stagnated inside the body and causes diseases, may be attributed towards the understanding of Ama. And Agni plays a very important role. And throughout our practice, Agni, the importance of Agni, the importance of Vata, Lomana and Lomana, the proper functioning of the Tridoshas, and the maintenance of the Srotas and the Dhatus plays a very significant role. And that's how we are so beautifully different from other system of medicines. And now when we talk in terms of these parameters, or when we talk in terms of such scientific evaluations and logic, many of the scientifically, the modern or the interdisciplinary experts give ears to us, approve us, appreciate us. And I believe maybe this may be something which we should strengthen us, especially when we are students and when we are studying and being with the teachers, and also getting involved with the teachers and learning from them. Okay. And definitely my friends over here, a lot of allopathic doctors, a lot of professors in universities. My teachers are also my very good friends, because when we talk to them in this way, when we are really excited, there are lots of developments. And when we talk to, especially why my friends, when I say about the doctors here, when we talk to them in terms of understanding in this level, they approve us, and it helps us to integrate in a very well manner. So when we look at the protocol of diabetes, when we look at the protocol of heart disorders or cancer, lifestyle management plays a very, very crucial role. Okay, so that's why now when we talk in terms of, as I said, they show a lot of faith in us, and there are lots of scope and potentials. So yes, Ayurveda, a wonderful science for holistic lifestyle. So another beautiful concept, the Nityam Hitahara Vihara Sevi Samikshagari Vishesha Sattvaha Satyaparaha Aptaupasevi. So we should be involved into Nityam Hitahara Vihara Sevi, which are conducive for us, which gives us health. So we need to identify what are those elements which constantly give us this energy, through the food, through the activities, to the people we get involved with as well. So again, we can incorporate this basic idea into healthy food, the healthy activities, being constructive or being positive mindsets of friends or advisors, and engaging in good behavioral actions, discussions, and following righteous activities. So again, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, the four pursuits what we have. Why dharma comes the first. Second comes the karma, dharma, artha, then the kama and the moksha. In the influence of dharma, the being good and doing good. This has, this is something very unique compared to other systems which is there in terms of health, because we are not focusing just on some food, just some activities, but yes, in purview of the people we involve with, the influence they have, the mindset they have, and what it can do to our life, to our thinking, to our body, mind, and energy. And also constant behavior, habitual behavior of indulging into good habits, positive habits, how positive energy level it produces in us. Yeah. So yeah, that sadvrita, the concept of sadvrita, the concept of acharya rasayana, all these beautiful concepts, what is told, what is prescribed in the dinacharya, in the rudacharya, is so sensitively distributed in identifying, in involving, and being exposed to a lot of positive energies which can create and generate health. So now there is a concept called salutogenesis. Actually, I did not write this. When I'm talking, I'm remembering this. So salutogenesis is a new stream. Now, if we observe a lot of developments, what we see in the contemporary science, we can be so motivated to understand that what exactly what the Vedic principles describes, they have just cut and copied it. They have just expanded it, and they have taken the initiative to make it into a scientific, explain it in a more scientific manner. So yeah, that is a very upper hand what they have. I'm so motivated for that as well, because it serves as a motivation for us to learn and to explore further. So the science of salutogenesis. Saluto means health, and genesis is the formation or the generation of health. So this is salutogenesis, the stream. It is by a Norwegian scientist called Atomsky. He has described on how, in terms of coping up with stress and the influence of people and how we, we behave, or the behavior could influence and generate health. And we look a lot of principles what is shared. It has a lot of significance, and we will be really happy and motivated to see. And when we analyze the concept what is shared in Ayurveda and yoga, in dinacharya, in ritucharya, in satvrita. And this one particular sloka, if you look, definitely it's an expansion of salutogenesis has expanded this particular concept. And the concept of healthy food, the concept of healthy activities, being constructive, having constructive mindsets, friends, advisors, engaging in good behavioral activities. Again, it comes into the purview of physical health, in the mental health, in the social health, and in the spiritual health. So what we tried to do was we tried to learn, my teachers, my friends, guide, co-guide, my guide Shivakumar sir, everyone was my guide, definitely, especially Shivakumar sir and Dr. Jagdish sir. We all tried to bring a design, or try to charter, or try to segregate each concepts into this into a pattern. So what we came across was, in the Rig Veda it says ahara vihara achara vichara idi chattvari are the four pillars of life. Ahara for the physical health, vihara for the mental health, achara for the social health, and vichara for the spiritual health. So identifying ahara for the physical health, how ahara has an influence. We have a lot of beautiful concepts in Ayurveda, a lot of beautiful practices in Ayurveda on how to eat, how the beautiful practices of diet is, how ahara can produce health. So the fundamental of health is from the gut. Now a lot of scientific studies point out on gut microbiome, and how the gut plays a very important role in the maintenance or the homeostasis of health and optimal health, and how our beautifully talks about Agni, and based on the Agni, how we have to involve or indulge in the particular method of consuming ahara, and also based on the Prakriti, identifying what sort of habits we have to be introduced to. So yes, a beautiful concept through the Vedas, and how we can introduce it to the modern concept of what WHO says, and how we can bridge in the physical level, in the mental level, in the social level, and the spiritual level. And when we talk about lifestyle, definitely it is not just some diet or some activities what we do, but when we talk about Ayurveda, when we talk about yoga, we are so beautifully trained through certain practices, and that would be our approach, that would be our strength. So the key to breaking free from health challenges would be in three processes. It is to be in being fit, in regular detox, and immunity. So being fit in the physical level, being fit in the mental level, being fit in the spiritual level, so in the social level, in the spiritual level. So regular detox in the physical level, in the mental level, in the social level, and in the spiritual level. When we talk about immunity, it is not only some resistance to some diseases, but also Balavarna ojas. When we say, it has a very powerful meaning, Bala, Varna, and ojas. The influence what it has, not only in the physical level, in the mental level, in the social level, in the spiritual level, because we are exposed to a lot of toxins, and especially in this contemporary period of time. If we look 50 years, no, we can't say 50 years, maybe 80 years or 100 years back, the exposure what we had, it's completely different. We were exposed to food habits which the food which were not which didn't have exposure to a lot of plastics, or didn't have much exposure to a lot of fertilizers, a lot of pesticides, and the storage, or how it was stored. And also we used to have more healthy, more human intervened food habits, compared to what we see 30 to 50 years back. A lot of processed food, a lot of factors which makes the people to have more comfortable for free flow, free moving, and also readily available could impact on how it is stored, could impact how it is made, could impact how it is processed. So our human body is more tuned and designed to be living with the nature, being with the nature. And we say also to be the nature. What does that mean actually? To be with the nature, we have to be, when we be with the nature, we have to be with a lot of entities or factors which are very natural compared to what is being processed, compared to something being forcefully changed, so that the mankind or we have more comfortable living or movement or mobility. When it happens in that way, our body, which is so sensitive to the nature, which the body is very very sensitive, in the sense it is formed by the nature, it is a part of the nature, integral big part of the nature. When something is not natural or through the nature based, it triggers certain unwanted factors or processes in the body. Just like um, in something which is not part of the body, it tries to push it out, be it in the body or be it in any situations, in the mental level, in the social level, or in the spiritual level. Or if you look at a country, if you are not having the proper visa, and if you are not entitled to be in that land, we will face some difficult situations, being forced out, thrown out, or if there are illegal encroachment, there will be line of engagement where there will maybe defense may be involved. Similarly, in our body, when we are exposed to unnatural circumstances, unnatural exposures and influences, the body tries to pushes it out. So the chances of inflammatory responses may be very high. So again, when we look at how our present lifestyle is, we are knowingly, unknowingly exposed to a lot of factors which have, something which are not natural, plastics, toxins, pollutants. All these factors are not, so readily accepted in the body. And what happens is it tries to pushes it out. Now, the major challenge is the type of food what we eat. When it is not so natural, we know, we understand, rasadi dhatus are formed when there is a complete conversion of the food. So when the proper conversion is not there, how can we say there is rasadi dhatu formations where there is palavarna ojas? We see a lot of viral distributions. Virus was there earlier before also. I mean, there are a lot of diseases which we see even now also. It is not the disease or the virus which probably is, which shows to be deadly. If it was deadly, everybody has to be equally influenced. But the robust immune system, what individual has, that particular category of individuals are more affected or fall into a victim. So be it this contemporary situation what we face, or be it whatever we are going to face, or what was there before, what is most important is how we maintain this immune system. And to maintain that immune system, it is very important in how we can regularly detox our system, which causes, which already causes this inflammatory response. Again, rewinding, fundamental would be in what exposures we have, what exposures we be involved with in the physical level, in the mental level, in the social level, and in the spiritual level. So most of the people, especially when I was working with the government, when we speak about spiritual, we have to be very careful, because we have, I strongly believe Ayurveda doesn't strongly talk about spiritual practices. If you talk spiritual, specific spiritual religion or so, it, one example is Bhuta Vijnana or Bhuta Chikitsa. It talks about specifically about the doshic environment, about how if you look at how Vipere cholerae diseases are told, the specific conditions are very specifically explained, and also Upasargika Rogam, how the bhuta, the krimis, and all the negative influences could cause diseases. So we cannot compare to other systems, what they say about spirituality. We cannot say Ayurveda in that dimension, but instead in a very broad, in a very different dimension of spiritual health, the fundamental of what Swami Vivekananda also has shared, to be good and to do good to others. That is a basic, the fundamental of any religion. You beat any religion. So the foundation of any religion will be to be good and to do good to others. And definitely that is the foundation for the other dimensions of health, because just like dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, what we said, dharma plays a very important role, and that is the fundamental and first and foremost, which should be corrected, and rest will follow. With the right dharma, we have to have the right artha, right kama, and moksha follows. So the influence on being good and doing good has a lot of significance, and that is the foundation for the physical health, for the mental health, for the social health. So it is very important that we need to safeguard through our practices, whichever belief you have or follow, whatever it is. The fundamental what we need to observe is to be good and to do good to others, and how we incorporate that sort of energy in us, in our life. That plays a very important role. So I believe, I remember one saying by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam: when you are righteous in your heart, there is a beauty in the character. When you're righteous in your heart, there is a beauty in the character. When there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. When there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the society. When there is order in the society, there is peace in the world. So dear friends, when we look on this part, being righteous, the sattvic guna, the sattva guna, the guna of being good, to being good and doing good to others, it has a lot of significance in our life, in our family life, in our societal life, in our whole world. So we can bring peace to the world. And definitely, the counterpart is toxicity, which deteriorates in achieving these goals. The toxicity in the physical level, the toxicity in the mental level, the toxicity in the spiritual, social level, the toxicity in the spiritual level. So yes, toxicity in the physical level, I have given a lot of information in turning towards how we are exposed to plastics, the water we drink, the bottles we carry, the food we keep. All this has a lot of exposures to the particular type of plastic. When the heat is more, how that transforms into a lot of chemicals, bisphenols, something called EDC, that is endocrine disrupting chemicals, industrial toxins, the food toxins. We are fortunate, we are knowingly, unknowingly exposed to it. We can't run away from it. We cannot hide from it. We can only take measures in neutralizing it. So that's how very powerfully Ayurveda and yoga could perform compared to any other systems of systems. How beautiful we are, how fortunate we are, how potential we are. So yes, when we are looking at the physical level, Ayurveda, I remember the salutation to Patanjali: Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidikena yo apakarotam pravaramuninam Patanjali pranjali ranatosmi. So the impurities in the body through the Vaidika Shastra, through the medicines or through Ayurveda, the mind through yoga, and speech through grammar or through our how beautiful our Sanskrit words are, Daivika Bhasha. What does this Daivika Bhasha means? Who is Daiva? A person who can, Daivika is constructive in nature, anything in love in nature, who can construct, who can build, is Daiva. So Daivika Bhasha means maybe, when we talk, give a word, we chant a word, it causes a lot of vibration in ourselves. A lot of words, what we chant, a lot of words we use creates a vibration. So what we talk and how we involve with people, especially in terms of social health and achara, it plays a very significant role. So how we talk, what we talk, how we involve with people when we talk, all creates a lot of vibrations and impact. So it is up to us to understand whether it is in a positive way or in the negative way, or how that positive energy could, or the negative energy could influence. So again, physical level, through how the food and exposures, mental level, social level, I mentioned about how from the word we use to the people we be involved, how our traditional practices all could influence our social health and the spiritual health as well. So when it comes to the mental health as well, how beautifully yoga plays a very important role. Yoga, when we look on different methodologies which are described, different schools which they say, when it comes to bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, you name it. The foundation or the fundamental is to unite the body and mind to have a complete focus. In that level of focus, we perform. I believe when I was doing my post-graduation, I was reading the Bhagavad Gita as well. I think the 18th chapter is Shraddhadi Adhyayam, how to bring the Shraddha. In the Shraddhadi Adhyayam, it talks about Ahara as well, on how the Sattvika Ahara is, the Tamasika Ahara is, the Rajasika Ahara is, and how it has influence in our body. And again, we can categorize on these type of food, the Rajasika Ahara, what was told in the Bhagavad Gita, what is told in the about the Rajasika on the Tamasika. I actually forgot to move the slides because I was so much deep, because I feel so happy to share this information. I completely forgot about sharing the slide. I ask my pardon for it. So again, yeah, when I will come to it in this concept when it comes to the diet and the cancer, where as I shared, why we had worked exclusively on cancer, and we had exclusively checked on this concept of Rajasika Ahara and Tamasika Ahara and its influence. And in my Viva, in my final post-graduation, the question a very good teacher, he asked me was, why did you take cancer? There were many other systems, and also I had taken not particular cancer, but I had a generalized approach of cancer. So my reply was, cancer is one particular disease where we try to learn it right from the cellular level. How the cells, the normal cells turn to be a cancer cells. So when we say a normal cell turn to be abnormal. So we ask, what is the reason a normal entity become abnormal? There should be some reasons. Yeah. So something to be abnormal, there should be some sort of provocation. And that provocation comes from the physical level, the toxins in the physical level, the toxins in the mental level, the toxins in the spiritual level, social level, the toxins in the spiritual level. So the repeated toxins could trigger a process like insult to that particular cell, and in the long duration of time, it could turn into an abnormal cell. So in the process of cancer, it is of 3 stages. It is the promotion, progression, it comes. So it is not a one-day process. It's a very long process, actually. A repeated stages of insults, a repeated stages of inflammatory responses. When the immune system goes low, probably could trigger this particular conditions. And this is the foundation for what we understand. If you take World Health Organization's protocol for prevention of many of the lifestyle disorders, especially on heart disorders as well, they go for the bottom line approach, similar to have a shared pathology, what they term it as a shared pathology. So most of the time the exposures and the provoking factors are shared, and no doubt we learn cancer from the level of the cells. And in Ayurveda also it talks about very beautifully about Paramanus, how Paramanus are very minute entities in the body, and how Paramanus join to form the body, and how the Samyoga and Vibhaga of the Paramanus are influenced. The Samyoga and the Vibhaga are influenced by Vayu, Karma, and Subhava, and a lot of protocols in view of these energies of the Vayu, the Karma, the Subhava, and how we can understand in terms of in the physical level, in the mental level, in the social level, in the concept of doshas, the concept of Agni, how to maintain the Agni, how Agni plays a very crucial role in balancing a lot of so-called amavastha, or so if you look some sort of all the inflammatory responses as well. So yes, Ayurveda and yoga plays a very important role. Ayurveda through the diet, how it plays, and also the Panchakarma processes in how we can eliminate the detoxify our body in the physical level, also plays a very important role, and that creates a platform for the mental level and the social and spiritual level. And the practices of yoga is also nourishes the mental, the social, and the spiritual dimensions. And as a holistic approach of how Ayurveda and yoga could play is a very powerful entity. So I think we may have 3 more minutes. So have also had certain factors, some of the factors which shows provoking certain cancers as well, high fat diet, aflatoxins, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, preservatives, spicy foods, high vegetable and fruits, low fat and high fiber reduces the risk of cancer, and chemo preventives have been shown on these particular part. So yeah, on certain alcohol, salted food, mycotoxins, preserved meats or processed meats, and salt preserved, all this we can categorize them into the Rajasic, Tamasic aharas. So again, similar type of even pesticides are basically told. So in talks about in Bhagavad Gita, it talks about in 17th chapter, it talks about Kattuamla Lavana Tikshnoshna Vidahi Aharam, about Rajasika Aharam. It talks about how dukkha, shoka, ama it produces. And also when we look at how this particular type of processed foods are, how it could be bitter, sour, saltish, a lot of salt in the processed food. It causes a lot of sufferings maybe, and also it could be attributed at Rajasic food. Again, talks about the time, how it is, how to maintain the hygiene, and also how to keep it in a very good way. So ahara is considered as Brahma. So when we talk about Brahma, giving a lot of importance in the practices of with devotion and love, we have to consume, and with a lot of respect. So again, some entities on horse as well, and again Satvika Ahara, which Ayu, Sattva, Bala, Arogyam, Suga Pravarti Vivartanaha. So which is Snigdha, Sthira, Hridyam, which is very, very, the foods which has promotion for health, prolongation of life, vitality, the process of healing, happiness, love. All these sattvika are terms of in terms of sattvika aharam. So again, all these factors, obesity plays a very important role as well in this contemporary science. We see a lot of health disadvantages. What we see, the foundation starts with obesity, and yes, Dr. Harish, am I taking?
No problem. You can continue. No problem. No issues.
I often miss that. When we are totally involved, we may go into that flow. And
Yes, you can take more time. No problem.
So yeah, but yeah, in the bottom line, I would yeah, about the achara specifically, when we come, about practices what we have, the discipline what we have, the respect what we have, the behavior what we have, especially a rich tradition of ours has a lot of beautiful customs which promotes health. So yeah, we look at certain practices, but when including when it comes to sexual practices, how the multiple sexual practices have could trigger a lot of other conditions, and that's one of the major when we go for a evaluation, clinical evaluation, especially when it comes to the evaluating the physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. We try to understand that these individual processes as well, so that we identify these toxins in the physical level, in the mental level, in the social level, in the spiritual level, and we try to help these individuals to detoxify through our methods. Now, through whole Ayurveda and yoga practices, you will learn a lot of informations, and also my teachers would also be talking about this as well, and definitely on how these practices, patterns, and modules, what is shared through our system, could help a lot to detoxify and strengthen these particular dimensions in a very strong manner. So with this, I would also like to tell one part on how potential in the coming years Ayurveda and yoga could be, especially when we are in going more personalized, how artificial intelligence also plays an important, significant role, and in identifying when, by biomarkers, we are able to identify whether a particular person is prone for a particular type of condition, be it a cardiac condition, be it a cancer, be it any sort of disorders. We are able to predict well in advance. So there is a particular branch called predictive, preventive, and personalized medicine, where we are able to predict it, we are using the biomarkers. They try to predict that in the course of time, the possibilities of so and so conditions are more. So again, Ayurveda plays, if we look at the concepts what is shared through Ayurveda and yoga, it beautifully describes exactly more to what contemporary science is understanding, and the concept of predictive, preventive, and personalized medicine. And no doubt the strength what we have in delivering our system in this system, in this emerging fields is no doubt a powerful one. And in order for us to to come up, we need strong evidence-based approaches, and also we should equip ourselves in going deep. Especially students who are listening should get more involved with teachers and explore more in scientific way. And no doubt as I shared on how predictive, preventive, personalized medicine, and especially how artificial intelligence is moving. Now, if you're looking on how the science and technology, DST, playing a very powerful role in system biology department on how they have an integrated management and how they go for beautiful research works. Perhaps you could explore those areas as well and update yourselves. And definitely now with artificial intelligence through a machine learning, we are, they try to evaluate Vata Pitta Kapha. Already studies have, Germany has also been very powerfully involved, and definitely how Vata Pitta Kapha in the level of machine learning, they are processing it. They are also identifying most powerfully on how the herbal medications interact. So no doubt when we are, when we have the strong faith and also go very, very core to it, we have a lot of potential. So with this message, I would like to conclude, and I thank the principal, the HOD, the organizers, each and individually, Dr. Das, Mahadevi Madam, Dr. Harish, taking the efforts to bring up a platform to educate the students. That's what I love of my college SDM as well. So, all the teachers put forward platforms where students can really grow and really explore. I wish all and everyone the very best. Thank you. Dr. Harish?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes. First of all, I would like to thank all the dignitaries of SVM VV Sanghas ILKAL. And I thank our beloved principal, Dr. K.C. Das sir, for his moral support. And I heartily thank today's guest speaker, Dr. Shibu Isaac, for his high quality visual speech towards our students. The session was very informative regarding the prevention of the lifestyle disorders in both Ayurveda and modern concepts. Okay, I thank you so much. And I thank all the teaching and non-teaching staff for their kind support. And I thank all the UG and the PG students for their gracious presence and the patience hearing. So thank you one and all.
Thank you.